calling Tegan. Tegan's Harry. She's going to be great.
It's alright.
I need a Francis. Francis. A Francis. Francis. Wonderful. Alright. We'll help you through. It's okay.
Look, it's a small class today.
You'll be okay.
Friends.
Right.
We don't like stuff.
So we're going to start from page. We'll start from page 83, just because there's like a bit of talk beforehand with Danforth. So we'll start at the bottom of 83, where Danforth says, "We have thought it too convenient." Now, what are we up to in terms of storyline? What's happened so far in terms of storyline? Yep.
At the court, Giles' wife is getting.
Good. Yeah. So we're at the court. And Giles Corey's wife has been charged. Martha has been charged with being a witch. Why does Giles Corey think his wife has been charged with being a witch? What does he think is the motive behind it? Yep.
She's reading a lot of books.
Pardon?
She has a lot of books.
She reads a lot of books. Yeah, but there's he thinks that there is a sinister plot behind it. What's the sinister plot? The land, good. Yeah, that the Putnams are trying to get their hands on the land. Yeah. And that if they can pressure Giles Corey with the threat of taking his wife away, then they'll be able to get the land. Yeah. So it's pretty devious behaviour. But so far, everybody in the town is kind of believing in, I guess, the saintliness, to quote Proctor, the saintliness of Abigail and the girls, that they are telling the truth. So we'll go from Danforth.
We have thought it too convenient to be credited. However, if I should tell you now that I will let her be kept another month, and if she begin to show her natural signs, you shall have her living yet another year until she is delivered. What say you to that? So
remember that they're saying that Elizabeth, they think Elizabeth is pregnant, and they can't kill a pregnant woman. So they're saying that, well, if she is being truthful and she is pregnant, because they can't tell yet, because remember, there's no ultrasound. So if they can tell that she, if she does seem to be pregnant, then that will buy her another year before they can pursue execution of her. Okay, so that's the kind of, I guess, the consoling words from Danforth. But look, if she does end up being pregnant, we're not going to kill your wife for at least another year. So, chill out, bro. What's the problem? Obviously, that's not super consoling. But remember as well that Proctor didn't know that Elizabeth was pregnant at this stage. Okay? Not saying that Proctor is assuming that Elizabeth has been unfaithful, but more so that, their relationship is at a point where, they don't communicate with one another. So this pregnancy, she just hasn't mentioned it to him yet. Okay? Because 12 weeks along is not very long to be pregnant. Most people don't publicly tell people that they're pregnant until they're past 12 weeks, because the first 12 weeks are quite kind of touch and go with a pregnancy. You can often lose a baby in the first 12 weeks. Because it's not properly forming. So she was probably kind of waiting until she was sure that she was pregnant. Sorry, Alex, continue.
Come now, you say your only purpose is to save your wife. Good then, she is saved, at least this year, and a year is long. What you say, sir, it is done now. What say you, sir, it is done now. Will you drop this charge?
I think I cannot.
Then your purpose is somewhat larger.
He's come to overthrow this court, Your Honour.
Sorry, can I just pause? You'll need to speak nice and loud so that it records it. Yeah, nice and loud.
He's come to overthrow this court, Your Honour.
These are my friends. Their wives are also accused.
I judge you not, sir. I am ready to hear your evidence.
I come not to hurt the court. I only...
Marshal, go into the court and bid Judge... What is that?
Sutton, let's say.
And Judge Sewell declare recess for 1 hour, and let them go to the tavern if they will. All witnesses and prisoners are to be kept in the building.
Aye, sir. If I may say it, sir, I know this man all my life. He is a good man, sir.
I am sure of it, Marshal. Now, what deposition do you have for us, Mr. Proctor? And I beg you be clear, open as the sky, be honest.
I'm no lawyer, so I'll.
The pure in heart need no lawyers. Proceed as you will.
Will you read this first, sir? It's a sort of testament. The people signing it declare their good opinion of Rebecca and my wife and Martha Corey.
Their good opinion.
These are all whole landholding farmers, members of the church. If you'll notice, sir, they've known the women many years and never saw no sign in their dealings with the devil.
How many names are here?
91, Your Excellency.
These people should be summoned.
Mr. Danforth, I gave them all my word. No harm would come to them for signing this.
This is a clear attack upon the court.
Is every defence an attack upon the court? Can no one...
All innocent and Christian people are happy for the courts in Salem. These people are gloomy for it. And I think you will want to know from each and every one of them what discontents them with you.
They think they ought to be examined, sir. I think they ought to be examined, sir.
It is not necessarily an attack, I think yet.
These are all
Covenanted?
covenanted Christians, sir.
Then I am sure they may have nothing to fear. Mr. Cheever have warrants drawn for all these arrests for examination. Now, Mr., what other information do you have for us?
Can I just pause there? So what's happened is that he's gone around the town, Proctor and Francis have gone around the town to get, a bit of a petition up to say that, Elizabeth and Rebecca and Martha, they're good women. They've always been good women, that these people have been known all their lives to be good women. And 91 people have signed this. Now, Paris sees this as a way of, again, trying to, bring, the community against him. And so he suggests that all of these people, all 91 people on the list, should be brought forward to the court and examined. Because, maybe they too are witches. And they're just kind of protecting fellow witches. So that's, again, a link back to this McCarthyism era that we were talking about. How what this book is actually trying to do is examine this thing about McCarthy and how McCarthy would go, well, if you're friends with a communist, then you're probably a communist. It's the same thing, okay? So I would just highlight on 85 where it says, Paris says, these people should be summoned. And then, where is it? Hawthorne says, I think they ought to be examined. And then Danforth says, then I am sure they have nothing that they may, I am sure they may have nothing to fear. And that's the kind of thing that McCarthy was saying when he was bringing in people to examine them. That he was like, well, if they're not communists, they haven't got anything to fear. And it's like, well, the only thing is that when you ask them if you're a communist, when they say no, they're not a communist, you say, oh, well, that's what a communist would say. So you're probably a they couldn't win. Once they were being examined, they couldn't win. And that's what Francis and Proctor are going to be afraid of, is that now they've given over these 91 names, they've actually sent those people to their own deaths, because they're going to be guilty by association. Okay, so can you see how things just keep escalating? That it starts off with Goody Good, who's and Tituba, these two kind of women who don't have a lot of respect in the town, and then it escalates and escalates, and now all of a sudden all these 91 people are going to be investigated. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger. This hysteria, is accelerating. Okay, so let's go from Francis. I have brought trouble on these people.
I have brought trouble on these people. I have...
No, old man, you have not heard these people. If they are of good conscience, conscience. But you must understand, sir, that a person is either with this court or they must be counted against it. There be no road between. This is a sharp time now.
Sorry,
Precise
time, yeah.
Precise time we live no longer in the dusky afternoon when evil mixed itself with good and
Befuddled, yeah,
befuddled the world. Now, by God's grace, the shining sun is up, and then that fear not light will surely praise it. I hope you will be one of those.
All right, I want to pause on what Danforth said because he said something again that is very like McCarthy, right? Where he's saying, you know, this world is a very black and white world now. You're either with us or you're against us. Now, does the world actually work like that? Is the world black and white like that? No, of course not. There are, of course, shades of grey. You know, that you're either with them or you're with the devil. And it's like, well, what about someone like Proctor, who's not with Paris, but it doesn't mean he hates God? Okay, so again, it's trying to show the hypocrisy of this society and the, you know, ridiculousness of this way of thinking. And that's why when Miller wrote this and performed it for the first time, it became such a, you know, a huge, I guess, criticism on McCarthy and the government at the time. And that's why it was so controversial and why he you know, was arrested soon after. Because it was a really black and white society. All right, let's hear what so he's looking for Mary Warren at this stage. So Mary Warren suddenly sobs. And then that's you, by the way.
She's not party, I see.
No, she's not, sir. Now remember what the angel Raphael said to the boy Tobias. Remember it.
Oh, Mary Warren. Yeah. That's all right. I
do that which is good, and no harm shall come to thee.
Come, man, we wait you.
Oh, Giles?
John, my deposition. Give him mine.
Hey, this is Mr. Corey's deposition.
Oh.
What lawyer drew this, Corey? You know I never hired a lawyer in my life, Hawthorne.
It is very well phrased. My complaints, Mr.
Compliments.
Compliments, sorry, Mr. Paris. If Mr. Putnam is the court, will you bring him in? You have no legal training, Mr. Corey.
I have the best, sir. I am 33 times in the court in my life, and always plaintiff, too.
Oh, then you're much put.
You're much put upon, yeah.
I am never put upon. I know my rights, sir, and I will have them. You know, my father tried a case of mine, might be 35 years ago, I think.
Indeed.
He never spoke to you of it?
No, I can't recall it.
That's strange. He gave me £9 damages. He were a fair judge, your father. You see, I had a white mare that time, and this fellow came to borrow the mare. Aye, there he is.
Mr. Putnam, I have an accusation by Mr. Corey against you. He states that you coldly prompted your daughter to cry witchily upon George Jacobs, that is now in jail.
Oh, we need a Putnam. Taylor?
It is a lie.
Mr. Putnam states your charge is a lie. What say you to that?
A fart on Thomas Putnam. That is what I say to that.
Yeah, that is the best comeback ever, isn't it? It's just like, I fart on you. Yeah, take that, fart.
What proof do you submit for your charges, sir?
My proof is there. If Jacobs hangs for a witch, he forfeit up his property. That's law. And there is none but Putnam with the coin to buy so great a peace. This man is killing his neighbours for their land.
But proof, sir, proof.
The proof is there. I have it from an honest man who heard Putnam say it. The day his daughter cried out on Jacobs, he said she'd given him a fair gift of land.
Oh, I might just pause there anyway. So, Giles is saying, Giles is basically trying to make Danforth see that, you know, Putnam is actually using his daughter's, you know, ability to see witches to clear land for him that he can buy it because he's the only one with money to buy it. And in this society, the more land you have, the more power you have. And so not only is this going to bring him more money, but it's also going to bring him more power, which is what Putnam's after. He wants control of, you know, the decisions that are being made for the village. And this is his way of getting it. Okay? And Giles is presenting this, and Danforth's just going, oh, well, I need facts. And Giles is saying, well, look, it's common sense. Surely you can see that. But that's not enough for Danforth. Okay? Because Danforth doesn't want to be proven wrong, that he's made a mistake. Because Danforth's already committed a whole bunch of people to hang. And so if he realises that these girls are actually lying, it makes his other decisions look wrong. It makes him look a fool that he believed these girls. So he's not going to let anybody dissuade him of this fact that these girls are telling the truth. All right.
Does anyone want to be Hawthorne?
Yeah, beautiful.
And the name of this man. It's middle of 87.
And the name of this man?
What name?
The man that gave you this information.
Why, I cannot give you his name.
And why not?
You know well why not. He'll lay in jail if I give his name.
This is contempt of the court, Mr. Danforth.
You will surely tell us the name.
I will not give you no name. I mentioned my wife's name once, and I'll burn in hell long enough for that. I stand mute.
In that case, I have no choice but to arrest you for contempt of this court. Do you know that?
This is a hearing. You cannot clap me for contempt of a hearing.
Oh, is that a proper lawyer? Do you wish me to declare the court in full session here, or will you give me good reply?
I cannot give you no name, sir. I cannot.
You are a foolish old man, Mr. Cheaper. Begin the record. The court is now in session. I ask you, Mr. Corey.
Right, let's just pause there. So Danforth is now trying to get this name out of Corey because, you know, he wants to know who's kind of, I guess, spreading these rumours that the girls are lying. Why won't Corey give the name? Why won't Giles Corey give the name?
Because he doesn't want to get the person in jail.
Yeah, he knows that as soon as he gives another name, all that's going to happen is that guy will be dragged into court and that guy will be called a witch and then he'll be locked up in jail. You know, so he doesn't want to give any more names. He says, you know, I've given one name and that, you know, I've given my wife's name and she's been locked in jail. I won't do it again. And Danforth is using his power, he's abusing his power by kind of going, fine, then let's put you in court then. The court's now in session. Bang, bang, let's go. Now tell me the name. Because if you don't tell me, I'll lock you in jail for contempt.
Is that why he stones him? That thing?
That's, yeah. So it escalates to the point where they actually do the stone crushing thing to get the name out of him. Yeah. And he won't give it up. Alright, let's keep going. Proctor.
Your Honour, he has the story in confidence, sir, and he...
It's Paris. Sorry. The devil lives on such confidence. Without confidences, there could be no conspiracy going on.
I think it must be broken, sir.
Old man, if your informant tells the truth, let him come here openly, like a decent man. But if he hide in
Anonymity.
Anonymity.
Tricky
sorry,
word. Yep.
I must know why. Now, sir, the government and Central Church demand you the name of him who reported Mr. Thomas Putnam a common murder.
Excellency,
Mr. Hay.
we cannot link it more. There is a
Prodigious.
prodigious fear of this court in the country.
Then there is a prodigious guilt in the country. You are afraid to be questioned here.
And I only fear the Lord, sir, but there is fear in the country nevertheless.
Reproach me now with the fear in the country. There is fear in the country because there is a moving plot to topple Christ in the country.
But it does not follow that everyone accused is part of it.
No uncorrupted man may fear this court. Mr. Hale. No.
Right, let's pause here because what's just happened is that Hale is starting to show his kind of doubts about this whole system, this whole witch hunt, isn't he? So he says, there is a prodigious fear in this, prodigious means like a great, a big. So there is a great fear in this court, of this court in the country. Okay, can you underline that please? So he points out that people are afraid of the court. What does that kind of hint? If people are afraid of the court, what is Hale hinting at there? That people aren't going to be honest. They're going to say whatever the court wants them to say because they're afraid. Yeah. And Danforth's response is, then there is a great guilt in this country. So it's not the court's fault that people are afraid of it. It's their fault for being guilty of being witches. Can you see this ridiculous logic? Yeah? Because they're afraid of the court. Why? Because they know if they turn up, if they don't confess to something they didn't do, they're going to get hung. So of course they're afraid of the court. They're not going to want to come in just to have a chat. And then what is very ironic is at the bottom, Danforth says, no uncorrupted man may fear this court, Mr. Hale. Is that a legitimate statement? Should an uncorrupted man be afraid of this court? Of course. In fact, it's probably, I would say an uncorrupted man should be more afraid because they're not going to be willing to lie. Someone like Proctor should be more afraid of this court than someone like Paris. Paris is willing to lie whenever he needs to. Proctor, someone who's not willing to lie, has more to be afraid about this court. So I would underline those statements because I think they're very interesting statements. All right. So Danforth is then going to arrest Giles.
You are under arrest in contempt of this court. Now sit down and take counsel with yourself, or you will be set in the jail until you decide to answer all questions.
So Giles makes a rush for Putnam. So Giles goes to hurt Putnam because obviously he's angry and Putnam is at the heart of all of this. So he makes a rush for Putnam and Proctor lunges and holds him back.
No, Giles.
I'll cut your throat, Putnam. I'll kill you yet.
Peace, Giles, peace. We'll prove ourselves. Now we will.
Say nothing more, John. He is only playing with you. He means to hang us all.
This is a court of law, mister. I'll have no
Effrontery.
Yeah.
Forgive him, sir, for his old age. Peace, Giles. We'll prove it all now. You cannot weep, Mary. Remember the angel, what he said to the boy. Hold to it now. There is your rock. This is Mary Ron's deposition. I will ask you to remember, sir, while you read it, that until 2 weeks ago she was no different than the other children are today. You saw her scream, she howled, she swore. Familiar spirits choked her. She even testified that Satan, in the form of woman now in jail, tried to win her soul away. And then when she refused,
we know all this.
Aye, sir. She swears now that she never saw Satan, nor any spirit, vague or clear, that Satan may have sent to her. She declares her friends are lying now.
Excellency, a moment. I think this goes to the heart of the matter.
It surely does.
I cannot say he is an honest man. I know him little. But in all justice, sir, a claim so weighty cannot be argued by a farmer. In God's name, sir, stop here. Send him home and let him come again with a lawyer.
Now look you, Mr. Hale.
Excellency, I have signed 22 death warrants, 72 death warrants. I am a minister of the Lord and I dare not take a life without there be a proof so immaculate, no slightest qualm of conscience may doubt it.
All right, so I would circle that statement by Hale because Hale is now really showing that he doubts the sincerity of what's going on. Okay, Hale, the person who came in saying that he was the one that was going to find all the devils, he's now starting to go, maybe we're wrong. Maybe we're wrong. But Danforth won't hear of it because he knows as soon as he starts showing doubt, he's bringing into question all of the other decisions he's made. And he's not willing to make himself look a fool. He would rather hang the rest of them than look a fool. Okay? So I think that statement by Hale is very interesting. And listen to the way that Danforth shuts it down.
Mr. Hale, you surely do not doubt my justice?
To have this morning signed away the soul of Rebecca Nurse, Your Honour. I'll not conceal it. My hands shake. Yes, yet, with the wound. I pray you, sir, this argument let lawyers present to you.
Mr. Hale, believe me, for a man of such terrible learning, you are most bewildered. I hope you will forgive me. I have been 32 years at the bar, sir, and I should be confounded where I called upon to defend these people. Let you consider now, and I bid you all do likewise. In an ordinary crime, how does one defend the accused? One calls up witness to prove his innocence. But witchcraft is ipso facto, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean? Ipso facto?
It's not easy to prove. There is no fact to it, yeah.
On its face, and by its nature an invisible crime, it is not. Therefore, you may possibly be witness to it. The witch and the victim, none other. Now we can't hope that the witch will accuse herself, granted. Therefore we must rely upon her victims, and they do testify. The children certainly do testify. As for the witches, none will deny that we are most eager for all their confessions. Therefore, what is left for a lawyer to bring out? I think I have made my point, have I not?
This child claims the girls are not truthful, and if they are not,
That is precisely what I'm about to consider, sir. What more may you ask of me, unless you doubt my
Probity.
probity?
I surely do not, sir. Let you consider it then.
And let you put your heart to rest her disposition, Mr. Proctor.
So Proctor hands it to him. Hawthorne rises and goes beside Danforth and starts reading. Paris comes to his other side. Danforth looks at John Proctor and then proceeds to read. Hale gets up, finds a position near the judge, reads it too. The Proctor glances at Giles. Francis prays silently, hands pressed together. Cheever waits placidly, the sublime official, dutiful. Mary Warren sobs once. John Proctor touches her head reassuringly. Presently, Danforth lifts his eyes, stands up, takes out a kerchief and blows his nose. The others stand aside as he moves in thought towards the window.
I should like to question.
Sorry. So Paris says that with like anger and fear, that he's like, I would like to question, because he knows that Paris knows that if it all turns out that it's been a lie, and a lie instigated by his daughter and his niece, who's going to look bad? Him. Paris is going to look bad. He's just killed a whole bunch of his congregation, his neighbours. So Paris knows if this falls to crap, it's him that's going to pay for it more than anybody else. More than Putnam, more than Danforth. Paris is going to be the one that suffers. So he's not going to let it go easily. Okay? And he doesn't want Danforth to come to the conclusion that this has all been bogus. Okay? So, Danforth.
Mr. Paris, I bid you be silent. Mr. Cheever, will you go into the court and bring the children out?
That's
Mary Warren. Mary Warren, how came you to this
turnabout.
Has Mr. Proctor threatened you for his deposition?
Now, do you guys know what a deposition is? I should have cleared this. It's like a statement that you make to the court. So it's like a
Evidence?
yeah, it's like evidence. Like you write your story. Okay? So Mary Warren says, so has Mr. Proctor threatened you for this deposition? No, sir.
Has he ever threatened you?
No, sir.
Has he threatened you?
No, sir.
Then you tell me that you sat in courts callously, lying, when you knew that people would hang by your evidence. Answer me.
I did, sir.
How were you instructed in your life? Do you not know that God damns all liars? Or is it now that you lie?
No, sir. I'm with God now.
You are with God now.
Aye, sir.
I will tell you this, you are either lying now or you were lying in court. And in either case you committed perjury and you will go to jail for it. You can't lightly say you lied. Mary, do you know that?
Right. Do you see what Danforth does there? He basically sets up Mary in this lose-lose situation. So she was either lying before with Abigail, or she's lying now when she's saying Abigail's a liar. And either way, God damns all liars, which means God will send you to hell. So he's saying, either way, you're screwed right now. You've either lied now or you're lying before, and that makes you a liar, and that means you're going to hell. Moreover, you're not just going to hell, either case you've committed perjury and you'll go to jail for it. So he's just set her up with a lose-lose situation, putting pressure on her to back off. Right? And why does Danforth want her to back off? What's in it for him?
His name.
His name, yeah, because if she backs off and goes, no, look, you're right, Abigail's not lying, then he continues to be right. And these girls are seeing the devil. Okay? So he wants her to back down. I would definitely circle that bit with Danforth, saying that I will tell you this. You're either lying now or lying in the court. Sorry? And
Is somebody Abigail?
yeah, we do need an Abigail. And you need to get crazy.
Santanita.
Jen, who does have the crazy voice. What about Jeffin? We haven't heard Jeffin read much.
I'm like highlighting peacefully.
I know, I see that you're doing work and I feel like you'll be a great Abigail. I feel like you've got the hysteria
No,
for
I
it.
can't be crazy though.
Oh, you can definitely do crazy. I can sense it in you. Right. Mary Warren says, I cannot lie no more. I'm with God, I am with God. But she breaks into sobs at the thought of it. And the right door opens and enters Susanna Walcott, Mercy Lewis, Betty Paris, and finally Abigail. Cheever comes to Danforth.
Is it Cheever?
Nick, can you be Cheever?
Yeah. Ruth Whitman is not in the court, sir, nor the other children.
You love it, mate.
These will be sufficient. Sit you down, children. Your friend Mary Warren has given us a deposition in which she swears that she never saw familiar spirits,
Apparitions.
Nor any
Manifest.
of the devil. She claims as well that none of you have seen these things either. Now, children, this is the court of law. The law is based upon the Bible, and the Bible written by Almighty God forbid the practice of witchcraft and describe death as a penalty therefore. But likewise, children, the law and the Bible damn all bearers of false witness. Now then, it does not escape me that this deposition may be devised to blind us. It may well be that Mary Warren has been conquered by Satan, who sends her here to distract our sacred purpose. If so, her neck will break for it. But if she speaks true, I bid you now drop your
Guile.
and confess your pretense, for a quick confession will go easy with you. Abigail Williams, rise.
No, sir. Oh.
Is there any, sorry, Dan?
Is there any truth in this?
No, sir.
Children, a very
Auger.
bit will now be turned into your souls. Until your honesty is proved, will either Will either of you change your position now, or do you force me to hard questioning?
I have not to change, sir. She lies.
You would still go on with this?
Aye, sir.
A puppet was discovered in Mr. Proctor's house, stabbed by a needle. Mary Warren claims that you sat beside her in court when she made it, and that you saw her make it, witnessed how she stuck her needle into it for safekeeping. What say you to that?
It is a lie, sir.
While you worked for Mr. Proctor, did you see puppets in the house?
Goody Proctor always kept puppets.
Your Honour, my wife never kept no puppets. Mary Warren confesses it was her puppet.
Your Excellency,
Mr. Cheever?
when I spoke with Goody Proctor in that house, she said she never kept no puppets. She said she did keep puppets when she were a girl.
She has not been a girl for these 15 years, Your Honour.
But a puppet.
But a puppet will keep 15 years, will it not?
It will keep if it is kept. But Mary Warren swears she never saw no puppets in my house, nor anyone else.
Why could there not have been puppets here when no one ever saw them?
There might also be a dragon with 5 legs in my house, but no one has ever seen it.
He makes a good point, doesn't he? I mean, like, it's getting ridiculous, isn't it? That they're talking about, well, she had puppets as a child, she's probably a witch. I mean, like, everybody has dolls when they're a child. I mean, it's just getting absurd. And like he says, you know, there might also be a dragon that we're hiding, but, you know, you've not got proof of that either. Right. Paris? We are here, Your Honour.
We are here, Your Honour, precisely to discover what no one has ever seen.
Mr. Danforth, what profit does this girl to turn herself about? Or may Mary Warren gain but high questioning and worse?
You were charging Abigail Williams with a
Marvellous.
marvellous cool plot to murder. Do you understand that?
I do, sir. I believe she means to murder.
This child would murder your wife?
He is not a child. Now hear me, sir. In the sight of the congregation, she worked twice this year, but put out of this meeting house for laughter during prayer.
What's this? Laughter during?
Master during...
Excellency, she were under Chichiba's power at that time, but she is solemn now.
Child.
Oh,
Aye, she is solemn and goes to hang people.
Quiet, man.
Surely it have no bearing on the question, sir. He charges contemplation of murder.
Aye. Continue, Mr. Proctor.
Mary, now tell the governor will pay you to dance in the woods.
Excellency, since I've come to Salem, this man is blackening my name. He...
In a moment, sir. What is this dancing?
Mr. Proctor.
Abigail leads the girls to the woods, Your Honour, and they have danced and they're naked.
Your Honour, this...
Mr. Paris discovered them himself in the dead of night. There's the child she is.
Mr. Paris?
I can only say, sir, that I never found any of them naked, and this man is...
But you discovered them dancing in the woods? Abigail?
Excellency, when I first arrived from Beverly, Mr. Paris told me that.
Do you deny it, Mr. Paris?
I do not, sir, but I never saw any of them naked.
But she have danced.
Aye, sir.
Excellency, will you permit me?
Pray, proceed.
You say you never saw no spirits. Mary were never threatened or afflicted by any manifest of the devil or the devil's agents.
Oh, no, sir.
And yet when people accused of witchery confronted you in the court, you would faint, saying their spirits came out of their bodies and choked you.
That were pretense, sir.
I can't hear you.
Pretense, sir.
But you did turn cold, did you not? I myself picked you up many times, and your skin were icy. Mr. Sorry, you...
I saw that many times.
She only pretended to faint, Your Excellency. They're all marvellous pretenders.
Then can she pretend to faint now?
Now?
Why not? Now there are no spirits attacking her, for none in this room is accused of witchcraft. So let her turn herself cold now. Let her pretend she's attacked now. Let her faint.
Faint?
Oh no, sorry. Faint. Prove to us how you pretended in the court so many times.
I cannot faint now, sir.
Can you not pretend it?
I have no sense of it now.
Why? What is lacking now?
I cannot tell, sir.
Might it be that here we have no afflicting spirit loose, but in the court there were some?
I never saw no spirits.
Then see no spirits now and prove to us that you can faint by your own will, as you claim.
I cannot do it.
Then you will confess, will you not? It were attacking spirits made you faint.
No, sir.
Your Excellency, this is a trick to blind the court.
It's not a trick. I used to faint because I thought I saw spirits.
Thought you saw them?
But I did not, Your Honour.
How could you think you saw them unless you saw them?
I cannot tell you how, but I did. I heard other girls screaming, and you, Your Honour, you seemed to believe them, and it were only sport in the beginning, sir, but then the whole world cried spirits, and I promise you, Mr. Danforth, I only thought I saw them, but I did not.
Surely, Your Excellency, is not taken by the simple lie.
Abigail, I bid you now, search your heart and tell me this, and beware of it, child. To God every soul is precious, and his vengeance is terrible on them that take life without cause. It is possible, child, that the spirits you have seen are illusions, only some deception that may cross your mind when...
Why? This is a base question, sir.
Child, I would have you consider it.
I have been hurt, Mr. Danforth. I have seen my blood running out. I have been near to murdered every day because I've done my duty, pointing out the devil's people, and this is my reward, to be mistrusted, denied, questioned, like a...
Child, I do not mistrust you.
Let you beware, Mr. Danforth.
Think you to be so mighty?
Think you to be so mighty that the power of hell may not turn your wits? Beware of it, there is.
Alright, can I just pause there? Because Abigail's doing some really interesting things, and so is Mary Warren. Mary Warren, at the top of 96, she's telling us what's happening in the court, and she's saying that, you know, she kind of just got swept up in it. You know, like, have you guys ever done, like a seance? Have you guys done a seance before? No, good, because it's against Catholicism. But, a seance is where, like, you sit with a Ouija board and you try and talk to spirits, yeah? Okay, so, the thing with seances are, they're BS, right? They're not real. But what actually happens during a seance, guys, is that everyone gets a bit carried away, right? I'll just wait. Everyone gets a bit carried away, and everyone puts their fingers on the glass, and the glass is supposed to move around, and you kind of ask questions to the spirits, and the spirits guide the glass. Now, obviously, that's not true. So, what often happens during a seance is that people get overwhelmed and they're really like, whoa, like freaked out about the whole thing, and somebody accidentally just kind of a little bit touches the glass, and people are like, oh, it's a spirit, it's moving, oh my god. And then the next minute, another bump happens, and another bump happens, and then suddenly it's like sliding around like it's some sort of ice skater, you know? Because people get kind of wrapped up in this, right? And they're like, oh, I heard something, it's a spirit, oh my god. You know, they go, oh, you know, send us a sign. And then there's like, you know, like a leaf falls, and they're like, oh my god, it's a sign, yeah? This is exactly the same thing that's happening in the court, right? It's the exact same thing. It's that mob mentality where once one person is kind of thinking something, and if that person is a very influential person like Abigail, that can kind of spread that hysteria. I'll just wait. Thank you. It can spread that kind of form of hysteria. And that's what's going on. And that's what Mary Warren is trying to explain. But remember, Mary Warren, a little bit simple, so she can't really express it well. But she makes it clear enough that we can kind of see what she's talking about. But what Abigail does is super interesting, and so I would kind of circle that bit, but I would also circle the bit where Abigail says, so Danforth is saying, look, child, have you been lying? And she goes, oh, I'm affronted. How can you ask me such a question? And then he goes, look, I'm not saying I don't trust you, but... And then she says something that is very interesting, that is worth circling. She says, let you beware, Mr. Danforth, that think you be so mighty that the power of hell may not turn your wits? What's she doing there? What does that mean?
How do you know you haven't been?
Good. She's threatening him and going, hey, if you're going to question me, you might be the next one I point out. She's threatening him. That's how powerful Abigail sees herself now. That she feels like she's so powerful, she could even question Danforth.
Can't you just like send her to jail?
Pardon?
Can't you like just like send her to jail?
He could, but the thing is that now that the community think that she's someone who sees witches, she feels like she could overthrow him. She finds out very quickly that that is not the case. She is not as powerful as Danforth, but she does threaten him, which is very interesting and tells us a lot about Abigail. How power hungry and how happy she is to exploit her power. Alright, Danforth.
Do you want to read what happened? So she said, suddenly from an accusatory attitude, her face turns, looking into the air above, is truly frightened.
Close my book by accident.
Oh, okay. So we're on 96 down the bottom.
What is it, child?
She looks about the air, clasping her arms. Oh, okay. Damn it, we were just about to get good. Right, don't go yet. I'm not done with you. Look at me. Look at me. Everybody look at me. Don't move. Just stay still. Freeze. Look at me. Freeze. Oi, what did I say? Freeze. So, don't forget to do that holiday homework. I want one full draft, about 1,000 words. There is absolutely no excuses. Capiche? Get it done. I want all those tables moved back to where they were before that door opens.
We have a sack.
Who's got a sack? You two? Yeah. Right, then we're going to have to do the heavy lifting for them. Let's get this organised. Sorry, I wasn't really excited.
Oh, that's fine.
It's another hour down for you. Alright. When we know that our recess is at stake, when it takes us 5 minutes to put it out. See you later. You too, my dear. Enjoy. See you later.
Yeah, she's going to bed.
No, I